When a locksmith chooses to use TOPDON Diagnostics, they can incorporate additional services like running a health report on a vehicle, which not only protects the locksmith, but provides the customer with peace of mind of knowing what's going on the entire network, on the entire vehicle when you begin the job. Then you can complete your job and then run a post report to show the customer that you completed the job properly and that no new problems have been incorporated into the system. In addition to that, you can provide some common services for the customer while you're at their location, like looking at their tire pressure monitoring system. When a locksmith chooses to offer TPMS services with our tool, they can do things like relearn the sensors. Let's say the customer's done a rotation and the shop that did the rotation didn't relearn the proper position. You can notate that and you'll be able to do that with our tool. If you wanted to get even deeper into the system, you could replace sensors, program sensors, those types of things with our tools. ADAS calibrations. ADAS is Advanced Driver Assistance Systems, and they've become a integral part of today's cars. And when something's replaced or something is gone out, it often requires a recalibration. Now, some of that recalibration requires a whole lot of equipment like targets and things like that, but many of the cars use a dynamic calibration. And a dynamic calibration is simply using our scan tool to access the advanced driver assist systems and put that system into a dynamic learn mode. And then it's a matter of just driving the car on a well-marked road under the conditions that the tool will tell you that needs to be done to perform that calibration. So as a locksmith gets more involved with the different systems, because all of these systems interact together, the locksmith can start expanding their services and increasing their margins and increasing their profits and add new revenue streams. I think the biggest advantage having a diagnostic scan tool for the locksmith is being able to diagnose the complete anti-theft system, because there's so many different things involved in that anti-theft system, not just the key. You have the transmitter, the transponder, you have the module, you have the immobilizer module, you have the instrument cluster, and you have the ECM. And on some cars, even also incorporates the transmission module, and it just goes on and on. So it's a big, robust system, and locksmiths need to be able to diagnose all of those systems. When a locksmith uses our tools for their diagnostics, they do run into any problems. For a large company, but with a small mindset, we can provide close local support for the locksmiths. So we're big enough to provide you with the tools that you need, but small enough to care about your individual problems and help take care of the customers. And we offer things like loaner tools, superior priced subscription plans, US-based tech support right in our Rockaway, New Jersey office.
So then let's settle on the actual diagnostics tools themselves. I know
Okay.
I know that you have your Phoenix line, the
Yes.
Light, the Pro. Any other specific models you want to mention? Get on. I'll
Yeah,
first
so what
understand.
I'd like to talk about today, I think, is our newer models. The Phoenix Lite and the Phoenix Pro have been around. They're established. So we can talk about the newer models that we have, the Phoenix Plus, the Phoenix Elite, and the Phoenix Smart. They're on our new platform. So they bring a little bit more horsepower, so to speak. We just got different VCIs that we've come out with that kind of separate the tools from each other. Different levels that you need, whether it's just basic diagnostics or you want to get into coding and programming, which those things a lot of times are more for the automotive professional. That's all they do is automotive. But I know a lot of locksmiths are getting into more and more of that because it is a very profitable avenue. VCI stands for Vehicle Communication Interface.
Hmm.
So I'll show you. So, like with our Phoenix Plus, we use a Bluetooth dongle
Hmm.
that's compact, and it gives you the ability to do all of the uh, functions that we've talked about
Hmm.
during our discussion here. Then you get into our Phoenix Elite, and we have an upgraded VCI that includes what's called CAN-FD. So CAN-FD is a new protocol that some of the newer cars are talking on. So with the Phoenix Plus, if you run into those, you need a CAN-FD adapter to be able to communicate with those.
It's like some of your newer GM models, and
yes.
which other models? Because like I know that GM does it. I'm sure that Ford must probably do it as well. It's like American-made vehicles mostly.
Mostly, yes, yes. At this time,
Okay.
We don't know how that might change going into the future, but they're constantly changing protocols because systems are getting more integrated. They're adding to the systems, so there's more load on them, and they need stuff to handle more bandwidth. That's really what CAN-FD and stuff is all about, is increasing the bandwidth. So
is that like moving into more of like the 5G side of connectivity within vehicles, the CAN-FD modules?
Yes, you could look at it similar to 5G.
Okay, so it's like a interconnectivity between the vehicles and ability for them to discuss with each other, basically for safety reasons, like almost like self-driving additional stuff, like that kind of thing.
Yes, you'll see more and more of that as we get into these more self-driving cars, where the cars are constantly communicating between themselves and not using towers and things like that.
So it's like proximity based signaling.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Right.
So then you have on our Phoenix Smart, the VCI that we have for it. You can tell it's much bigger, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is going to add the ability for J2534, which is one of the programming protocols. This also has RP1210 in it, which is for heavy duty vehicles. I don't know how much that would apply to your locksmiths.
You never know until you know.
But you never know.
Right.
So this is going to be the cat daddy, and going into the future, we're going to be able to do the next level of remote support. So with if you have this tool, in addition to phone and being able to just remote into the tool and kind of see what the customer's seeing, we'll be able to do even some more advanced stuff with that, and we can have a whole separate meeting on that. So
it's pretty cool, I got to tell you.
So okay, so now let me talk a little bit about some of our scan tools. So we'll start with the Phoenix or Phoenix Lite, like you mentioned earlier. So this is the Phoenix Lite. It's kind of a compact unit, 7-inch viewable screen, has a little handle on the back where you can put your hand in there and hold it. Has a holster for the VCI.
That's cool.
So this is the communication dongle, VCI, vehicle communication interface, that you would plug into the car.
That's cool that it's inside of it. That's really a cool feature.
A lot of people like that, especially if you're space oriented and
right.
need some extra space. The next one of our legacy line of tools.
Actually, before we move on, that VCI itself, it's a wireless VCI. Does it charge when you plug in the actual unit itself, like when you have it in that slot?
Doesn't need to charge. It's going to power up off of the car.
Okay.
So on the 16-pin connector on the car, pins 4 and 5 are your grounds, and pin 16 is power. So those are going to power that VCI or vehicle communication interface up. And so if you run into an issue where the VCI does not power up, it's good to know those pin numbers that I just gave you, so that you can check for ground and power, right? Because a lot of times you might have a blown fuse if the VCI doesn't power up.
Understood.
So this is our Phoenix Pro. It's got the 12-inch screen.
The big daddy.
Has the kickstand in the back, so it's adjustable. Some people will hang it off the steering wheel or
that's
whatever.
Pretty nice. That's a cool feature.
So these two tools that we just listed are kind of our legacy tools, right?
Okay.
So you get into our second generation tools. You get into our Phoenix Plus. So I've actually got this one powered up. I don't know how. So the Phoenix Plus this is a 10-inch screen. So it's more compact. It's kind of in between those two that we just looked at.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more compact. And the other two I'm going to show you also have a 10-inch screen. So these have a different user interface or look than what the Phoenix Pro and the Phoenix have.
Okay. This is a newer model, correct?
This is the newer model, yes.
Okay.
This is the second generation.
Would you say this is a little more compact, a little more user friendly? The other ones are about the same in terms of their user.
They're all very. I think they're all very user friendly. They just like any other tool, it takes a little bit of getting familiar with it.
Right.
But once you're familiar with it, you can go through it real well. So some of the features that we have, since I have this one turned on to show you, some of the features that we have are our feedback feature. So all of our professional line tools do what's called logging. So they do they automatically log what's happening, the communication between the tool and the vehicle. So if you run into any issues that you need our support team to dig into, you can send in those logs through our feedback button.
Is it just like a text log of what you've done, like a key log?
Yeah, so it's all engineering data, so it's not really stuff that you can see, but I can kind of show you here. We can hit this feedback button, and it's going to tell you that, hey, I keep the last 20 sessions. So that could be 20 sessions on one car or 20 different cars, right? So we can go in here and we can select it, and we can tell what kind of inquiry we're trying to make.
Right.
What we want to look at. So you would just select up here, you choose your log, and you'd select your log and hit OK, and then it's going to pull up that information for you. And you can put in all of your details and send it, and it goes straight to our product team.
And do you guys have any kind of remote assistance or any way of like clocking in to check out what's going on the device while it's being used by a technician?
Yeah. So that would be through this button over here. It says Remote Diagnosis.
Okay. All right.
So if you call into our tech support team and it becomes apparent that we need to be able to remote into the tool to see something, we do have that ability. Of course, obviously the tool's got to be on the internet.
Right.
So your mobile locksmiths are going to have some type of a mobile hotspot.
Usually they do. Most of the time they do have a hotspot of some sort. Usually most of the things require that. So would you say that there's any kind of like a agreement or a yearly contract that has to be done or authorizations have to be done for any of these machines to keep them running and doing all the features they need each year? Or
okay, so with our Phoenix line of tools, they all will come with 2 years of updates.
Okay.
You get 2 years of updates on the front end. They're all none of our tools are subscription based.
Okay.
Meaning if your subscription runs out, the tool will continue to work.
Okay.
Now there are some functions that require you to have the most current software for those functions to work.
Right, so you can update now, not update for a couple of years. It'll still work fine the whole time, but you may not be able to program newer vehicles.
Correct.
Okay, all right.
Correct. So there are some things that will require that, but yes, that's one of the unique advantages that we have is the ability for a customer, because we understand that you're going to have multiple tools. And keeping subscriptions current can be very cost prohibitive. So it's always good to have the option to say, well, I want to update this tool this year and I'm going to wait a year on this one, or vice versa, whatever. So we give you that flexibility.
And what do the updates run post 2 years?
It depends on which level of tool you get, but in the $400 to $700 range.
Okay, so it's like yearly amounts for different types of services depending on your range.
Correct.
Okay.
So this is going to give you. Our subscription is for all of the car lines that we cover, which is over 200 now. Lots of car lines that you won't even see in America, but we have coverage for them. So whenever you buy a subscription for our update service, you're going to be able to update all of those car lines for 365 days.
Okay.
So that's how that works. So now I'm going to show you our Phoenix Elite, which will be the next step up from that Phoenix Plus. Let me power it up. Give me a second, let it power up, and then we'll. Okay, the Phoenix Smart is already powered up, and I'll kind of show you. So again, we have the. Oh, I've lost you. No audio.
How about now?
I got you now.
Okay. If you've got things you have to do today, let me know. I don't want to hold you up all day doing this. If you got like stuff you got to pack or whatever, so let me know.
No, I've got lots of stuff. I got a doctor's appointment here in a little bit. So.
Okay, so let me. How much longer do you have? If you want to rush through a couple of things, we can try to compact a little bit.
Okay. Well, I think we got. Depends on how much time you want to take after we get through with the tools.
I mean, I shouldn't need too much more. It's just just a couple of topics need to be hit. So I mean, I don't want. I mean, I'm not saying that you're taking all of them. You're doing great. I just want to hold you up anyway.
Yeah.
So we're gonna hit the Elite, and then it's gonna go into the.
We'll do the Elite and then the Smart. We'll spend a couple minutes on each one, and then we'll go to the Ninja.
Whatever amount of time you need to take is what you got. That's all I want to care about. Okay. That's all. So
okay.
Thanks, man.
All right. So here is our Phoenix Elite. There we go. Phoenix Elite. Again, kickstand. All of our full-size tools have the kickstand so that you can stand it on your bench or you can hang it, whatever you want to do.
And this is the second to most high-tech version of the Phoenix tools themselves. Like this is the.
This would be the natural progression from the Phoenix Plus that I've just showed you. Mm-hmm. Okay, this is the one that uses this VCI with the CAN FD integrated into the VCI module.
Okay.
All of our Phoenix tools for your repair shops that are watching this have ADAS capability. So you can add ADAS to these, which ADAS is Advanced Driver Assistance Systems. So that's the little yellow light that comes on in your mirror, or lane keep assist, or adaptive cruise control, those types of things. That's what ADAS is. Mm-hmm. And that is that's what's going to allow all these cars to be self-driving. So I know you've seen.
I mean, I checked out your ADAS system one time. It's a really complicated system to set up unless you know exactly what you're doing. It's a lot of balancing and placement and distancing and stuff. And I could see how that might be a little difficult unless you're really versed, which is where you guys would come in with a little bit of assistance at times like that as well.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Well, yeah, we offer training on ADAS equipment and stuff, so we can do all of that kind of stuff.
But that's also the future of vehicles at this time.
That's yes. Okay. Yes. So a lot of people don't really think about it, but when you start talking about advanced driver assistance, which is what the ADAS system is, well, ADAS really has been around for a long time because analog brakes are a form of driver assistance.
Okay.
So they've been around a long time. It's just it's advanced very quickly in the last few years.
And now they're more computer controlled than they used to be, basically.
Exactly. Right. So it's just integrated into more systems. Like I said, with adaptive cruise control, blind spot monitors, forward-facing cameras, mm-hmm. Rear collision warning systems, all of that kind of stuff. And those are the things, like I said, that's going to allow the car to self-drive. For instance, GM just announced their system they call Super Cruise. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's being done through the ADAS system. It's using a motor on the power steering to steer the wheels. It's using adaptive cruise control to keep the distance from the next vehicle. All of that kind of stuff. So that's the future. That's where we're headed.
So they made a system that can handle
turning back.
They made a system that can handle your speed, distance, and change lanes for you?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, we're there. Can it see lights?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's no turning back now. Jeez. So that's where we're headed. Okay. So this is our Smart. Mm-hmm. Visually, it looks very similar to the Elite. except you'll see the blue bezel.
Right.
I don't know if you can see it in
Phoenix
this video.
Smart, right? I can kind of see it's pretty. Can you back it up a little bit? I think it's picking up most of the light from the screen itself. I think we can see it there. Okay, there it is. Yeah, I can see the blue bezel now.
Okay, great. So you'll see the blue bezel, and this uses the larger VCI that includes the J2534 communication.
Okay.
And has all of the features. Oh, my screen went out. It went to sleep. So this is our most advanced unit currently to date. So it is going to have the higher capability as far as programming cars, programming computers, and things like that. Now, when I'm talking about programming that in that respect, I'm talking about the engine controller, the transmission controller, all of the different modules. I'm not talking about key programming specifically. Okay?
I got you.
All right.
We're UHS Hardware, the #1 wholesaler of locks,